Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. David Snyder checking in with you. Welcome to Hidden Laws of Attraction, how to reprogram your subconscious mind blueprint. Today is going to be focusing on reasons why your manifestation stalls. And, it's interesting is that sometimes people come into different places where, like, they want to manifest something and they can't get out of the gate. But sometimes we get started really, really fast, or we get started really well. Then we get to a certain point in our manifestation process, and things just start to go south. Like we lose momentum, something comes out of left field and knocks us on our butt, right? So let me ask you a question. Has you ever had a manifestation stall for you, or something you were working on stall for you? How many times have you had to manifest something that really, really mattered, and for whatever reason, maybe it's more money, maybe it's a deeper relationship, feeling chosen or valued or secure, you visualize, you affirm, you stayed positive, you did all the right stuff, and then for whatever reason, things just kind of drill down. You can't get past, yeah, exactly, Stephen. You can't get past a certain income level, or it's like you hit a ceiling, or you lose momentum, right? Or you get distracted and then you can't seem to get back on that horse, right? Now, sometimes these things are random, but many times what you're encountering is a disconnect between your states, your programming, and the environment. And that's kind of what we're gonna drill down on today. So let's just make sure that this is relevant for you guys. So I'm gonna ask you guys a bunch of basic questions, and if these are relevant to you, just type "that's me" in that's me, or I've experienced, or I want that in the chat, if that's okay. These are just little things that let me know that we're kind of in the right place together, right? Liddy says, "Oh, you achieve something and then it all goes away." Yes, very much. So how many people here would, hey, it's February, right? Valentine's Day is just around the corner. How many of us would like to actually be more attractive to either our current partner, or maybe even attract a new one or a better one? Anybody? If that's something you'd like, go ahead and type "that's for me" in the chat. How many of you, by a show of "that's me" in the chat, would actually like to be a lot less afraid? We're going to talk about fear quite a bit in tonight's training, because fear is one of the most powerful manifestation tools that we have. And if we don't understand the dynamics of fear almost 100% of the time, if you don't understand its dynamics and how it impacts your system and how the whole system works together, often becomes a prayer for the very thing you don't want, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that and why it's important. We're going to talk about state control. We're going to talk about identity. We're going to talk about the nervous system and how it codes your experience, and how that whole system works together to really create the things you want. Now, how many people here would like to be to attract more money into your life? Anybody want to make more money? I saw that in the chat, right? How many of you would like to be more inspirational to your employees, or more charismatic? Yeah, money's a big one, right? If you guys want, and again, remember, I'm here to teach you guys the fastest, most effective way to get what you want, right? To get out of your own way, things of that nature. So we're going to talk a lot about different ways that we sabotage ourselves. Anybody here have issues with self-sabotage or anything like that? Okay. If you answered yes to anything I've asked so far, you're in the right place, and you need exactly what we're going to be talking about throughout the course of tonight. Let's see here. So let's talk about, well, actually, let me get to know you guys a little bit. So Stephanie says, "I am self-sabotaging mofo." Okay, well, let's see what we can do about that. Deborah says, "Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes." And you know what? I'm going to give you guys a really big piece of the self-sabotaging puzzle. How many of you, this is going to be weird, how many of you are really, really angry about something that happened in your life? Anybody? Okay. Now, check in with your emotions and notice what direction that anger's pointed. And I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to contrast just a little bit. Are you angry more at the person or the situation? Or are you more angry at yourself for letting it happen? Well, okay, heartbroken. Which had more impact? Self. Ah. See, here's a big, not angry, frustrated with grief. Okay, okay. Well, there's a way out of that. But you have to, here's the thing that we as evolving conscious beings need to understand. Those negative emotions cut both ways. Here's something that loss of two family members. Okay. Angry with self for hanging on to it. Is it okay to get rid of this stuff? Is it okay to change this? Is there any reason? Is there any reason why you guys might want to keep it? Yes. Okay. So now there's a very particular reason why I asked you these questions. Because and it comes down to many of the reasons why our manifestations often fail. Your manifestations fail, don't get started, or even have a chance to manifest, or they often stall when there is a disconnect between the state you're in, the identities you hold, the beliefs you have, and the actions that you take. For manifestation to really move forward effectively, these links in the chain all have to be synchronized, right? And I'll give you an example. If, let's say, for how many people here actually believe that it is possible for them to earn more money, to make more money, to become more wealthy? How many of you actually believe that? Okay, perfect. When you think about making more money, how many of you feel a little bit of fear? Edie says me. But yeah, tax fear. Uh-huh. Fear. Fear, 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 fear. Here's the problem. Fear is a negative manifestation generator. It's a negative manifestation tool. And so, because of the unique way that your neurology, your nervous system, your body has evolved, it treats fear in a very significant way. You see, anything that makes you fearful is about 75% less dangerous to you than you believe it is. But because your nervous system has a negativity bias, your nervous system will focus on what you're afraid of first and choose to run away from that more than it will run towards the thing you want. Let me say that again. Your nervous system, if left to its own devices, will spend more time running away from the thing you're afraid of than it will towards the thing you want. Do we understand this? And why it's so critical that fear needs to be managed and it needs to be understood. Right? I didn't write the system. I just explored it. Okay. So here's the thing what I'm going to say to you is going to seem very counterintuitive, even though I just explained it. When you find yourself feeling the fear, you must train yourself to focus on moving as quickly in that direction as you can. Because the shortest, quickest path to your growth and evolution is on the other side of that fear. Now, I've developed whole technologies and systems for dissolving fear, resolving it, turning into positive emotions, all kinds of manifestation alchemy and things like that. I have boatloads of techniques for that. But regardless of whether you study my techniques, and I'll give you access to the complete system tonight if that's something that you really feel like will help you, or whether you study other people's techniques, you must resolve your fear. Now, you can resolve it through willpower, or you can resolve it through code, or you can resolve it through other approaches to finding the source of that fear and eliminating it within yourself. Right now, a lot of our fears go to limiting beliefs. Now, a lot of the beliefs we have, we know about. We know that if the tax man was I saw this. I saw this, I saw it in the chat, right? They said that the tax man, right? Let me tell you something. For decades, I refused to make a lot of money. I refused to make a lot of money because A, I was afraid of the tax man, but it wasn't the tax man that I was really afraid of. You see, when I was growing up, we weren't rich at all. And my dad wasn't the most financially responsible person in the world at that time. And I vividly remember I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old. I'm sitting in my living room and these strangers walk into my house. They walk into my bedroom and they start taking apart my bunk bed that I shared with my sister. And they start carrying them out of the house. And I'm watching these strangers take my stuff. And it was you're 7 years old, so everything is like world shaking. And I remember the feeling of having something taken from me. And some part of me decided that I was going to make sure that nobody would be able to take something from me again. Now, that particular moment, as tragic as it was, and it truly was, it completely transformed the direction of my life because it forced me, it made me decide that I was going to accumulate things that could never be taken away. That was how I was going to get wealthy in my life, is I was going to accumulate things that nobody could take from me. So what did I invest in? Knowledge, skills, understanding. For decades, the biggest possession I had was my book collection. And I just buried myself in the acquisition of knowledge and skills. People wonder how I can do the things I do or why I have all this information, because that was my wealth. That was my wealth. Because once you have the skills, once you have the knowledge and the willingness to use it, no one can take it away from you ever again. And that served me well. Well, eventually I realized that I was holding myself back because if I wanted to have more stuff in my life, if I wanted to have a greater quality of life, then I had to make money. I had to have more stuff, right? I wanted to get married. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to travel the world and help people. So, and what kind of an example are you leading if the people you're demonstrating for you're not living the lifestyle that those people seek to emulate, right? And so I started to work on that wealth thing, and it took me till I was probably in my late 30s, really, before I started to move in the direction of accumulating wealth and prosperity and things like that. But I had to deal with the fears, and I had to deal with the past memories. Now, what's interesting about that experience, about me when I was 7 years old, is that, and I didn't know this until probably 15 years later, like 15 years ago, maybe not even that, maybe 5 or 6, 10 years ago, I'm sitting with my father in his place. And he talks about the moment he changed his life, the moment his life changed. And it was the exact same moment with the bunk beds. When he came home and saw what had happened and found out what had happened, it flipped a switch in him. And he went on to become super successful and very, very comfortable in his life. But I never knew why until maybe 5, 10 years ago. We were sitting down, because we never talk about the past, really, right? And all of a sudden this moment comes out. And these are the moments that we have to find in our lives. These are the moments that create a consciousness or a belief system or a safety lesson. And that's one of the things we're going to talk a lot about in this webinar, is this concept of safety lessons, why patterns keep repeating. And if you've ever started a manifestation and then it just kind of peters off, or um, or you keep dating the same person with a different face, or you have the same jerk boss at 5 different jobs, what we're talking about is a mechanism within your nervous system that is perpetuating a pattern until you come down and rewrite the code that wrote it in the first place. Does that make sense? If you're with me so far, okay. So what I'm going to do tonight is I have a complete set of systems. Most of you know me. You've been around Planet David for long enough, right? So over my lifetime, I've developed complete systems for transforming just about every aspect of our life. Okay. I've had a clinic for almost 30 years now. I've started in, well, 21 years. We started in 2005, is 2026, right? So I've been in clinical practice for 20 years where I've seen the results of negative manifestation. I've seen the results of suppressed fear, of denial, of anger, repression, all of these things. Now, all of these things are manifestation engines. The problem is that the way they're pointed and where they're directed is often triggering negative manifestation results. Most people don't realize that most chronic illness, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, cancer, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, all of these chronic degenerative rheumatoid arthritis, all of these autoimmune dysfunctions. Every time I've had one of those kinds of patients in my chair, and we've regressed them to the moment their body decided to have that illness, it was always a deeply traumatic emotional event from the perspective of the person having it. So the events that we carry around inside of us, even though they may have only happened once in our life, I only had a person take my bunk beds once in my life, but for decades, that I was being taken from forever, right? Because I kept running that movie in my head. Every time I thought about money, anytime I thought about buying something that was frivolous or because it looked cool or whatever, those movies would play in my head. Girl, don't make too much money. They'll come and take your stuff, right? And if anything I just said resonates with you, then this is a good place for you to be, because that's one of the biggest things that we deal with, and we don't want to deal with it, is the fear of things. And a lot of times when we're doing affirmations, how many people here know what an affirmation is? Anybody? Just type. Yeah. I'm big, by the way, in case you're brand new to Planet David, I am really, really big on interactiveness with my audience, right? That's why I don't like to use PowerPoints very much, because to me, it blocks me from being intimate with you in a non-creepy way, right? So yeah, Agnes is laughing at me. All right. Uh, Information 101. I'm still, and to this day, I am an information whore. I mean, I'm a hoarder. I literally have 3 warehouses filled with books and videotapes. Literally. And people who ever visited me have some, like Moss is in the background there. He's seen those warehouses, right? Uh, no, and trust me, I am such a knowledge hoarder. But the difference is, though, is I don't just hoard it. I find ways to use it. And that was my saving grace. Is, you see, I have lots of systems that I've developed, but I didn't develop them for you. I'll be upfront. I didn't develop those systems for you. I developed them for me because there were things I wanted to achieve in my life. And when I have a problem, I become obsessed with finding a way to solve it. And interestingly, maybe God planned it this way or whatever, usually when I create a method or a technique to help myself with a problem, inevitably I run across hundreds of people in some place that have that same issue and have that same problem. So I'm going to share with you some things that I developed for me so that they can help you. And if you want, I'll give you access to the complete system, and your life will never be the same again. Does that sound like fair? I'll take you as far as I can in the time I have, and I will point you in the direction of where to go to level it up. Is that a fair trade? And as a little side bonus, how many people here are always looking for ways to maybe make more money outside of what they're already doing? Anybody? Okay. I'll show you how you can start helping other people and get paid to help them do stuff, right? I'll show you a way that you can do that as an extension of what we're going to cover tonight. Yasmin says, thank you all the way from Egypt. You are very welcome, Yasmin. All right. So let's talk about safety lessons. Let's talk about why we don't change. How many people here have ever had a problem that they needed to solve? They went to somebody and they thought they solved it, and they solved it, or at least they thought they did, and then it came back. Type in the chat if it ever went away and came back. Okay. How many people here have ever had the experience of going to a practitioner and, let's say, on a scale of 0 to 10, the problem's like a 7, 8, or 9, right? And the person that you're working with does some kind of whammy. They do hypnosis or body work or psychotherapy or ketamine or whatever psychotropics they're using to cure traumas. And it goes from like a 7, 8, or 9 to like a 1 or 2, and then it just doesn't change anymore. Or it goes away and comes back. Anybody have that experience? Okay. What you're dealing with is not a trauma issue in many cases. Yes, the thing we're going to talk about is trauma adjacent, but what you're really dealing with is what I've come to call in our world a safety lesson or a safety rule. You see, when your unconscious mind experiences a trauma and it experiences the same thing more than once, usually these safety lessons don't really show up unless the event is super, super catalyst, like apocalyptic level traumatic, or it's the accumulation of multiple traumas, multiple smaller traumas. Some people would call that complex trauma, right? So capital T trauma comes from a massive event. Complex trauma tends to come from the layering of smaller traumatic events or boundary violations. It's the boundary violations and those things that can often trigger the attention of a safety lesson. So I'm going to give you a scenario. Let's say, well, how many people here resonate more with relationships? And how many people resonate more with business? Just type relationship or business. I want to give you a metaphor that's most meaningful to you. So I see business, 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 business. Oh, okay. I see this is going to be a money seminar, isn't it? Right? All right. So for those of you who are business focused, then I'll give you two metaphors then, and you will see how it relates. You heard me make a joke earlier. If you've ever dated the same person with a different face, right? Or you had the same jerk boss at 4 different companies, right? Who also had a different face, then this is what's relevant to you. So what happens is when you experience a traumatic event, something that injures you or violates your boundary in some way, your nervous system logs that as a terminal event or a potentially terminal event. In other words, your nervous system doesn't really understand the difference between getting cut off in traffic and being attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. Like you're still, even though we're living in the 21st century, we're working with a nervous system that's still running around in the jungle. And so anything that causes us fear or stresses us out, our neurology automatically thinks of it as life or death. So you have enough of these life or death moments, especially if they start to follow a pattern, which usually means 2 or more. 2 to 3 is where a pattern starts. So let's say, for example, you get in a relationship with somebody, your relationship's going really, really well, and then 6 months later, you find them in bed with somebody else, or they just completely ghost you and they run off somewhere with your best friend, or they roll over and tell you that they're no longer interested in people of your gender, or some weird thing, right? And it hurts. It's like somebody took the knife and just twisted it, right? but you're tough. You've been through these things before. You're strong like bull, right? So you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, you get back in the game, right? Relationship aside, you're a business person, right? You wake up one day and you have this download, this passion for an idea, a book, a business, right? And you say, and it just won't leave you alone, right? You're on fire. You're thinking about this thing all the time, and you go out and you do the research, and you find the funding, and you find the location, or you find the training that you need. You know who to do it with. You know how to do it. You know when to do it. You know when to pull the trigger, and you go for it, right? You go for it, and your business takes off. And then about a year, 2 years, things are going well, right? You've built yourself up. Things are starting to really chug along. And all of a sudden, a pandemic comes along, or weird elections happen, or there's a war that breaks out, or the economy just crashes, or your partner runs off with all of your capital. Something happens, the business is gone, like that. And it crushes you. Makes you just want to curl up in a ball somewhere, not leave your house, right? But you're not a quitter. You're not a wuss. You pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you get back in the game. You start another business. You get more funding. You get a better plan. You make sure that all the things that took out your business the first time never going to happen again. And you business starts to move, and it starts to grow. And then something happens. And you're back to square one again. And you remember that first moment, and you remember this, and he's like, what happened? And right. And you just, yeah, I get it. Believe me, I get it. Right. But you know what? You're still not a quitter. So what do? You become determined to build back better. You get more funding. You got the right people. You got the right infrastructure. You've gone over every part of your business plan. You've vetted every single contact that you're going to need. You know how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, who to do it with. Everything's ready to go. And you can't get out of the chair. You can't pick up the phone. You can't pull the trigger on this new business that you know will be even more successful because you've made the mistakes. Why? Why does that happen? It happens because every time you went through one of those business losses, or for those of you who are more focused on the relationships, every time you went through one of those relationship losses, your nervous system took it like a near-death experience. And I'll explain the subtler dynamics of that in a moment. Every time you took that hit, you felt that pain, your nervous system thought it was going to die. Okay? Now, your nervous system has two prime directives: keep you alive and keep you safe. It does not care about whether you're happy or not. It does not care about whether you're depressed or not. All it cares about is that your heart keeps beating and that you live long enough to procreate and raise those offspring, and then hopefully, maybe, do it again. That's the primal side of you. Okay? Now, on top of, like Robert's talking about, Robert's saying it was not what you did wrong, it's more what you didn't do enough of, right brain. Okay, so what Robert is talking about there is the internal dialogue that loss triggers. The self-recrimination, the blaming of yourself, the self-reproach. Okay? That's part of the trauma response. That's part of your nervous system trying to come up with reasons why it didn't work. We'll talk about those in another training. But what happens at the gut level, the autonomic level, is your brain, your gut brain down here and your head brain up here is saying, "Oh my God, he almost lost, almost killed him." He's and he's done it twice now. Every time he gets in a relationship and it goes south, it almost kills them. Every time he starts a business and he loses it, it almost kills us. How do I make sure that he never loses that relationship or never loses another business again, so we never ever have to feel this way? I got it. If they never have another business, they can never lose it. It can never be taken away. If they never have another relationship, they can't ever feel heartbroken or betrayed or abandoned or not included ever again. And so what happens? Your unconscious mind, your autonomic nervous system flips a little switch and attaches a little rule to anything that is similar to that stuff. Anytime we get into a situation like this, nothing happens. You're not allowed to do anything. And that's why you can't pull the trigger. That's why you can meet Mr. or Mrs. Right. And they check all the boxes. And you can't do anything but say hello, if you can even say that. It's because your unconscious mind, in its effort, its desire, its programming to protect you, attached a rule to that context, that application, and said, when you do this, we do nothing. Or you can't have this anymore. It's too dangerous. And that's why sometimes not only can you not get out of the box, you might even feel a little fear or physical pain or discomfort. Anybody ever notice that? This is true. This is true on a physical level. Like if you physically injure yourself, like a lot of MMA fighters, a lot of extreme athletes, they've blown out their knee like 2 or 3 times. They've thrown out their back a bunch of times, right? And after a certain number of repetitions, even though all the machines say there's nothing wrong with that part of the body, there's still always an ache there. There's always still just this little range of motion issue that acts up when you get just a little too far, too close to that position you were in when the injury happened. That's not physical. That's a remnant being a shadow, a phantom being projected by your unconscious mind to keep you from repeating the same mistake, to keep you safe. It's not punishing you. It's there to remind you to be careful. It's there to remind you not to take that chance, right? But is that how we really want to live our life? Not exploring everything we're capable of being, savoring everything we've ever fantasized or dreamed about? No. Your unconscious mind, in its effort to keep you the safe, is also keeping you prisoner because it's safe, right? There's an old saying, and some of you may have heard it. I can't, and I'm probably going to mangle this, but there is an old saying that says a ship is safest in the harbor, in the port. But that's not what ships are for, is it? Right? You came here, you took on this, and again, you're gonna hear me talk a lot about spirit during the rest of this webinar. But I want you to understand that when I'm talking about spirit, I'm not necessarily talking about angels' spirit, right? Although there is that aspect of it. I'm talking more about spirit in the context of what we call it, the Chinese and the Taoist and Oriental medicine calls Shen, which is mind and emotion, imagination. Spiritually, you came here to explore and create and become all that you're capable of being. How many people have ever felt like there was something special that they're here to do, right? If they could just kind of get the blocks out of the way or figure out what it was, right? Okay. Then you're in the right place, you're doing the right thing, you're on the right track, right? We all have at least one of those. But fear gets in the way. And because we don't understand the dynamics of fear, and we don't understand where it comes from, we create a narrative around things like fear or self-sabotage, and we act as if they're true, and they're just programs that our brain created, and our brain can change them. There is a need to have purpose. Yes, we found that studies show that people who think who have a mission in life tend to live longer than people who don't. Right? Anybody here want to live longer? Right? Find your purpose, right? And the identity by design system will help you to do that. But let's go ahead and let's go ahead and learn a technique that we can use to remove the safety lessons that are holding us back. Now, obviously, if this is the scope of everything that we could be covering, this is all I got time for. So I'm going to take you as far down this rabbit hole as I can. I'm going to teach you this technique so that you can start to remove some of those safety lessons from your life. But then I want to talk about two other factors for why manifestation stalls and how you can begin to transform that for you. Okay. And so I may divide the webinar up into three parts where we talk about clearing safety patterns and safety lessons next. Then we'll talk about how you get access to the full manifestation system and how we put it together for you. And then we'll circle back after that, and we will look at things like state control, and we will look at things like the identity blueprint or the subconscious reprogramming blueprint that is some part of today's webinar. Does that sound like a pretty good plan? And then I'll take any questions that you have. Okay. All right. So I want you to think of something that on a scale of 0 to 10 is about a 1, 2, or 3. We could do something bigger, but 1, 2s, and 3s are usually enough to show the validity of the technique. If I were working one-on-one with you, we could take on Godzilla all day long and it would work tremendously well. In fact, I just did 3 days of virtual healing intensive, and we went after some of the biggest, most nastiest limitations and self-sabotage and trauma experiences, physical experiences that can limit somebody. And we use this technique over and over and over again, right? It's one I use every day clinically. Okay. I want you to close your eyes. Think of that thing that you want to change. Think of that thing that's been holding you back up to this moment. And again, 1, 2, or 3. Now, I get that some of you are not going to listen to me and you're going to go for the big ones, and that's fine. Right? Close your eyes, point to where you feel it. Now, as I'm guiding you through this exercise, okay, A, don't respond to me in the chat until I ask for it. B, if you're driving, listening to this webinar, while operating machinery, don't do this technique. Wait for the replay and a time and a place when you are safe, physically, mentally, emotionally, where you won't be disturbed or distracted, right? And do this technique. It will be here for you, I promise. Okay? Close your eyes. Think of that thing you want to change. Now, as you think about it and you point to where you feel it, I'm going to ask you to ask yourself 2 simple questions. Now, we're not going to spin it, Stefan. Okay? I want you to ask yourself 2 simple questions. First, is it okay to change this? Pay attention to your first impression. Is it okay to change this? Second question, is there any reason why you might want to keep it? Please pay attention to the first thing that pops into your awareness. Might be a feeling, might be a word, might be a phrase. Now, as you point to where you feel it, I want you to physically look at the space, close your eyes, look at it with your inner eyes, and notice that there's a color or a series of colors connected to those feelings. What color or colors is that for you, first impression? Now, if there was the picture floating in the space around you that represented that experience, a picture that you could reach out and touch, take your other hand, reach out and touch that picture so you know where it is. As you reach out and touch that picture and you're looking at where you're pointing, I want you to take both of your hands now, and I want you to trace the outline of that picture so you know how big it is. And now we're going to make sure we've got the right one. I want you to grab the picture and stretch it, make it bigger. Notice what happens to the feeling in your body. Does it get stronger or does it get weaker? Does it really matter which one it does? No. What matters is that you notice what happens when you make the picture bigger. Now put it back to its original size. Notice what happens to the sensation. Now keep the size of the picture exactly the same Pull it closer to you. Notice the feeling, the intensity of the feeling. Now push it further away from you and notice the feeling. Now put it to where it's manageable. Take your hands, and I want you to use your imagination and your hands, and I want you to draw or paint a big, thick, black frame around that picture. The bigger and thicker and blacker, the better. Okay? Now, a lot of you are too young to remember when televisions had real dials and knobs and switches instead of touch screens and remote controls, but I want you to feel along the base of that frame. You're going to notice some dials and knobs like on an old style television. I want you to find the knob that controls the brightness or the contrast, and I want you to turn it all the way to the right until the image whites out completely, and notice how that makes you feel. Turn the knob all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. Decide for yourself which one you like better and turn the knob all the way in that direction. Now take the index finger of your dominant hand and in glowing letters across that whited out or blacked out screen, there were some lessons, some messages, some communications that your unconscious mind connected to this experience. I want you to write those lessons in glowing letters on that blanked out screen so you can keep all the lessons and let everything else go. Now the screen will scroll like a tablet scrolls, so you have an infinite, unlimited writing space. Some people know exactly what those lessons are and they blast them on the screen. Sometimes those lessons come up and you don't even like the lesson. You don't even agree with it, but if it came up first, that's what has to go on that screen, and you need to keep writing. Now, some people have no conscious idea what those lessons might be, but the part of you that created that feeling, the part of you that created that picture, that's the part that always knows. So let that part use that finger to write the lessons and messages on the screen. Some people will draw pictures. Some people draw squiggles. Every now and then you get someone who's got a big volt of rage inside and they just write F U, F U, F U across that screen. Some people write with both hands simultaneously. They're writing Chinese or Hebrew at the same time. However your body wants to do it, give it permission to express what's inside and put it on that screen. And just keep writing. You may notice weird stuff happening in your body as you're writing. No matter what happens, just keep writing. When you know it's done, and only when you know it's done, I want you to physically reach up with both of your hands, cup that frame and all the stuff inside of it, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp or something even smaller. And once you've got that, notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as your autonomic nervous system takes that teeny tiny frame, moves it up over the top of your head and all the way back beyond the horizon. And you know the sound a hammer makes when you're banging on a nail. Feel it nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. When you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back, test it. Try to bring the old feelings back. Try to turn the new feelings off. And notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, when you know it's done, and you're satisfied, stop testing, scan your body, notice how different you feel. It's always a good idea to give it 5, 10, 15 seconds or sometimes longer, because sometimes as the nervous system starts going through that reprocessing phase, things melt really fast and sometimes they take a little bit longer. But when you know it's done and it's impossible to come back, test it. When you're satisfied, stop testing, and then describe in the chat what happened for you when you did this. Agnes says, I raged. It was awesome. Now I feel brand new. Wow. Stefan says, relief, of course. Well, of course, Stefan, you must be a veteran. Agnes says, felt like a lift off my shoulder. Yes. Edie says, I belch. Perfect. Leedy says, I feel a lot of relaxation, release of tension. Brian's still processing. Sheila says, I've done this numerous times. The information was so clear, I felt unrewarded for all the years of care. Yes. Roller coaster at first, then settled smooth. Perfect. Excellent. 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 Now, did any of you notice? Andrew says, always love doing this. Yes. How many of you, did any of you notice that as you were doing all the writing and stuff like that, as the thing was going back into the new filing system, all of a sudden you understood where the problem really was and you couldn't go back to thinking about it the same way anymore? And that, my friends, is how you know an intervention is valid. All interventions that are alchemical in nature, in other words, they're designed to take something that is a low vibration or a low frequency or a base, low quality anything, and turn it into something else. Any intervention like that will automatically result in a spontaneous reframe, epiphany, insight, enlightenment, for lack of a better word. As you process that and you move it from that traumatic memory that it was, and you start extracting and turning lead into gold, metaphorically speaking, you will also spontaneously gain the wisdom that was embedded in it. And that acquisition of wisdom is what changes everything. Okay. Brian says yes. All right. So this is probably, I have a lot of tools in my toolkit. Most of you guys know that. I don't have to list everything, right? The magic frame is probably the single best technique for resolving the safety lessons attached to traumatic events that keep us from moving forward. Okay. It does. I could spend probably a day, an entire day, maybe more, just unpacking all the neurodynamics of why this works and how it works, right? But it's just a teeny tiny part of a much more comprehensive system of manifestation and transformation. So I want to do one more thing before we go into just talking about the system in general. But before I do you guys have any questions about this technique or how you can use it or anything like that? Okay. Looks like everybody's up to speed. So, oh wait. Yasmin says, what if the old pick comes back up again? Shall I repeat it? If and when the picture comes back up, Yasmin, are the feelings the same or different? Because chances are, if a picture comes up again, it's not the original feeling that's the problem. There was another feeling or another, yes, less. Okay. Then yeah, you can frame it again or you can spin it. All right. We have a whole psychoenergetic emotional first aid kit we call the transformational triad, which this is what you just did is called the magic frame. It's the first technique in that series. Enrique is asking, can I use it to develop self-confidence in sports? Yes. And it's interesting that you bring that up, Enrique, because what happens a lot of times is when people say they want self-confidence, what they're really saying is, I want to stop being afraid. I want to feel comfortable and certain in every situation. Does that land when I describe comfort, certainty, and not being afraid? Yes. See, to me, and again, this is where I get in trouble with a lot of my peers in well, self-esteem is a little bit different, Diana. Self-esteem is the concept of whether I'm a good person or a bad person, whether I deserve something or I don't. So self-esteem and self-confidence are often linked, but they're not the same. Okay. So self-esteem often goes back to more of what I deserve versus what I don't, what kind of a person I am versus what I'm not. Okay. Okay. So Enrique, you're going to really want to pay attention to the next part of the next two parts of the webinar, because everything that we're doing is going to be directly relevant to your daughter, right? And if you master these skill sets, you're going to be able to help her in ways that are just off the charts. Okay. And the reason I'm going to be very upfront with you. Part of what I'm going to be describing for you is called the real world hypnotherapy identity by design system. It's part of the package. That system is actually being used, has been being used in the, I don't talk about this, has been being used in the Olympics for the last 8 to 12 years that I know of. One of my students, a very accomplished hypnotist named Dr. Joni Johnson Nady, is the official hypnotist for the United States swim team. And she has been using these techniques on her athletes for at least 3 Olympics that I know of, or 3 4-year cycles that I know of. All right. I don't talk about it that much because I don't want to embarrass her or whatever, but she's a brilliant hypnotist. She's a brilliant psychotherapist. And she will tell you point blank that she uses these techniques on all her athletes. Okay. So yeah, our stuff is actually used in the Pentagon. It's used by special forces. It's used by 3-letter agencies that I can't name. And it's used, where's the other? Well, it's used in a lot of emergency rooms, right? Um, Steven says I use it too. Perfect. Excellent. So this next piece that we're going to cover is not about safety lessons. It's about state control. So like I said before, there's 3 or 4 things that need to line up. The first is you got to make sure it's quietly changing the world and I'm here for it. Yes, you are, right? So we've talked about safety rules, the reasons that we, past traumas, right? Or rules that our nervous system arbitrarily created that keeps us from moving forward. The next piece is going to be nervous system dysregulation. This is where fear, uncertainty, a lack of confidence, a lack of coherence between the right and left hemispheres, a lack of coherence between the head and the heart and the lower brain. And you have 3 brains, and they all need to be coherent. When you have all of these different aspects of your neurology entrained properly, the word is called coherence, right? You automatically feel in a much more profound sense of safety, certainty, and comfort. Now, that state or that coherent state is an absolute prerequisite to doing deep level reprogramming. Okay. It's not negotiable, right? We have a lot of ways to hack into that system or into that state, but the ability to enter this state on demand is absolutely critical to give you access to the rest of the system. Does that make sense? So let's make coherence is a state. State control comes before everything else, right? State control in Planet David is the ability to enter or exit any desired psycho-emotional state at will, on demand, in any situation or circumstance, right? Enrique was just talking about his daughter who wants to be an Olympic athlete. Well, athletes will talk about something called the zone or being in a state of flow, right? Well, these are all peak performance states. One of the attributes of those states is a tremendous sense of well-being, of being completely connected. All right. And so what we're going to do next is I'm going to give you a special exercise, a special drill that will give you access to that kind of state. Okay. So we're going to go again, if you're driving, I don't want you doing this. Okay. Wait until the replay or make yourself completely safe to yourself and to everyone around you before doing this exercise. Okay. So how many of you guys would like to be able to feel safe and comfortable and move towards that comfort, connected, coherent state pretty much at will. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a short version of the full process that we use in the identity by design system in the hidden laws of attraction systems, which we'll be talking about next. Is that fair? Is it? Okay. All right. So once again, you can be sitting or standing. I often like to stand when I do these exercises, even though the vast majority of my clients in the chair are sitting. I like to stand because the having your feet in contact with the earth gives you more access to the electromagnetic field of the earth, and so it pulls your energy, your nervous energy towards your feet, and it allows your body to become less um, neurologically aroused. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think of a time in your life when you felt really safe. Now, nine out of 10 people who come to my webinars, when I ask them to remember a time when they felt safe, they go, I've never felt safe. Why so many, David? I don't know. Maybe that's just my demographic. So here's the deal. Close your eyes now. Take a deep breath in and let that breath out with a sigh. Deeper and deeper with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. All I want you to do is relax. Let go. Listen to the sound of my voice. Any sounds that you hear other than the sounds of my voice are simply the sounds of your environment or mine. They're not going to disturb you. They're not going to distract you in any way. In fact, all they're going to do is signal you, remind you, reinforce inside your mind, body, and soul the fact that you're completely safe. That no matter how far inside you travel, no matter how deep inside you go, you will always, always, always be able to hear my words, follow my instructions, and obey my commands. Because you realize that everything I say and everything I do is for you, to give you the life and the lifestyle that you want the way that you want it, by your standards and your definitions. Now, in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to focus all of your attention on the lids of your eyes. And I want you to relax those tiny muscles in your eyelids. And I want you to keep relaxing them. Relax them more and more and more till they're so relaxed, they just don't want to work anymore. And when you're satisfied, you're convinced they're so relaxed, they just don't want to work anymore. All I want you to do, give them a little test just to be sure. And when you're satisfied, I want you to go ahead, stop testing, let that level of relaxation flow from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes, deeper and deeper with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. All I want you to do is just let go and just let go. Drifting, dreaming, floating. Perfect. You're doing great. Now, in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to relax your mind just as easily as we've relaxed your body. We're going to do that in a very special way. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to begin to imagine the alphabet backwards, starting with the letter Z. With each and every breath you take, each and every beat of your heart, starting with the letter Z, all I want you to do is relax those letters completely out of your mind. Allow them, if you will, to become smaller and darker and harder to see. Turn the volume all the way down, 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 deeper and deeper, down, down, down. Perfect. Now, obviously, my friend, I cannot do this for you. Only you have that power. Only you have that ability. Only you can allow this to happen. When you know they're gone and you're as deeply relaxed in your mind as you are in your body, all I want you to do is allow your head to nod with honest, unconscious movements to let me know we'll continue with the next part of our process. Drifting, dreaming, floating. Smaller and darker. Harder to see. Turning the volume all the way down, down, down. Perfect. Now, in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to use that amazing imagination of yours that I know that you have. And I'm curious about something. I'm wondering if you might be able to imagine something for me while I talk to you. I'm curious. I'm wondering if you might be able to imagine a place, a wonderful place, a magical place, if you would, a place that is so welcoming, so loving, so nourishing and nurturing to mind, body, soul, spirit. A place that is so supportive and comfortable and accepting and forgiving. So completely positive and transformational, protective. A place that is so absolutely safe that no negativity of any kind could exist here for even a fraction of a second without being immediately vaporized or turned into its opposite. I'm curious, I'm wondering if you might be able to imagine what a magical, wonderful place like that might be like. What might you see when you're in that place? What might you hear? What might you smell? What might you taste? Because when you do that, when you're in that place and you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there's an amazing, wonderful feeling that you get. A feeling that lets you know you are truly safe. And I'd like you to notice, I'd like you to become aware that there's a place in your body where those wonderful feelings start, where they grow, where they spread from. Take a moment, notice where you feel it, and point to it. And as you point to it, I'd like you to notice that there's a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to those amazing feelings. I'd be curious, I'd be wondering what color or colors that might be for you, first impression. But no matter what color or colors they might be, I'd like you to take a moment and imagine a brilliant ball of that energy floating above your head. I'd like you to notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. That amazing ball of safety begins to grow, begins to expand, begins to fill your entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, and all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of safety. A cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating you, protecting you from all threats, all dangers, real or imagined, while at the same time flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with everything it most wants, everything it most needs, in an infinite, ever expanding, and unlimited supply. And when you know you've got that, breathe those amazing colors through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in so fully, so completely. No force in the universe can turn it off or take it away, not even you. And when you realize it's true, it's locked in, test it. Try to turn it off, try to take it away. Try to imagine some force outside of you trying to take that away, and notice what happens instead. And when you're satisfied, and only when you're satisfied, you can stop testing, let the energy flow even stronger. Allow your eyes to open, and notice how good you feel. And when you're back, go ahead and type back in the chat. and we'll continue with the next part of our process. All right. So what was that like? That says relaxing. Sheila's got all hearts and flowery, super awesome, shifting, so zoned out, I nearly fell out of my chair. This is the access state. Anna says, oh my God, cool. Calmness, stress-free, relaxed, excellent. This is the state that we want to be in. Hey, it's just good to hang out here, right? But this is also the state that gives us maximum access to the rest of our neurology, to the rest of the system. So let me give you a real quick overview of what that looks like, and we'll go from there. So what you just experienced was part of the identity by design system. Oops. So that's this part right here. This is the access point. Then we go into clearing out the general negativity, all the crap you've accumulated that you don't even know you have. Then we go into safety lesson removal. Then this installs all the positive driver states that you need to manifest things faster, easier, better. And then we clear out all the internal dialogue. This is all those voices in your head that tell you why you can't do something or why somebody's going to take it away from you or how something's going to screw it up. We're going to change. Oops, sorry about that. Where'd my, there we go, okay. Then we go into, so once we change internal dialogue, then we go into removing all the negative energy from your past memories. And we turn it and we transfer them to all your positive memories so that the old memories have absolutely no power over your life. And when you look back, you only remember the past in ways that make your life better. Then we take all of this and we install it as a genetic template before your very first memory. And then we take that system, this whole complex of stuff here, and we overlay on top of that all the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people you want to be more like, of people who you admire, who have the results in life that you want to have. So this becomes a automated process that automatically steers you in the direction of your best version of yourself, the version of yourself that you want, and dissolves any limiters, barriers, safety lessons that might hold you back or derail your progress. Okay. So once we've gotten you through, so again, I've given you the magic frame, which is step 2 in the identity by design silo. And I've given you the entry point, which is what we call the safe place induction, which gives you the access to the nervous system that, that you actually need to be able to do a lot of this stuff. So obviously there's a much more robust system in place. And if you're ready, I will go ahead and teach you about the whole system. Is that okay? Do I have your permission, please? Perfect. All right. So I'd like to talk to you about the entire ecosystem for manifestation and transformation. It's called the Hidden Laws of Attraction Ultra Manifestation Mastery Home Study Program. This is a program that is a complete ecosystem for alchemical and personal transformation. It's going to teach you how to access the latent powers of your own neurology to customize your internal environment, your belief systems, and reprogram yourself for ultimate manifestation mastery financially, relationally, and anything else, any other field of endeavor, sports performance and enhancement. As you unleash your potential, you're going to be able to manifest more wealth, attract more opportunities, build better, deeper, more satisfying and fulfilling relationships, inspire change in yourself and ultimately in other people, because you will understand at a very deep and intimate level how your mind and body work together to create your reality and how you can reprogram any aspect of that to manifest the things that you want. As a byproduct of this, you're going to find yourself radiating more confidence, comfort, certainty, Fear will be something that no longer holds you back. It'll be a sign of something you need to explore. And as you explore those feelings, you'll discover reservoirs of power and transformation that you never even realized were buried inside of you. So you'll become more of the person that you are really meant to be. And as you break through those barriers, you'll unlock the real inner power that allows you to become truly unstoppable in your life. One of the cool side effects of this kind of training is you automatically start becoming more charismatic and magnetic. People, for whatever reason, will just be drawn to you like a moth is drawn to a flame. It's a side effect of all the positive energetics that your nervous system and pheromones, really, that your nervous system is giving off. There's actually some good science that actually validates the physiological and behavioral effects that these techniques generate on people around you. Okay, so I've put together a really comprehensive system for you. I've divided into 3 or 4 basic pillars. Each one's going to handle a different aspect of your manifestation journey. And the opportunity to get this is completely good until February 10th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. tonight. So the first thing we're going to start off with is the core product. The core program is called Hidden Laws of Attraction. Now, Hidden Laws of Attraction is a derivative of our Identity by Design silo. It's geared specifically for how to use your mind and body to unlock the powers of your subconscious mind to quickly manifest anything that you really want and to get rid of the things you don't want. It's going to teach you the ins and outs of manifestation, both positive manifestation and negative manifestation. Remember, guys, fear is one of the most powerful negative manifestation engines that exist. And if you don't understand it, if you don't know how to manage it, it will poison everything you try to do. You must become an expert on fear removal and fear transformation. And that's part of what this course is going to teach you how to do. As a result of that, you're going to become incredibly more magnetic to financial opportunities. You're going to be able to influence people both intentionally and remotely. People will start to reach out to you for no reason because you just come up in their mind because you left such an impression on them. But also, as you start to open up the extended faculties of your nervous system, your ability to sense people and for people to sense you or to receive messages from you through what seems like telepathy, but it's really just entrainment, will go up automatically. We'll teach you how to find and remove the hidden blocks to your success, the secret, subtle negativity that was programmed into you without your knowledge, without your understanding, without many times you even realizing it was a negative, right? Many times, some of the most powerful limiting things that we're holding on to were given to us in an attempt to help us. It really doesn't matter what the intention was. What matters is what the effect of it on our system was. We're going to teach you how to find them and remove them. Then I'm going to show you how to actually talk to your neurology in the way that it most powerfully responds. You see, one of the problems that we have in manifestation is there's often a disconnect between the way your conscious mind communicates and the way your unconscious mind understands. They're two separate systems that live in the same body. And if you don't understand how information travels from one to the other and how it's interpreted, reinterpreted, or misinterpreted by those systems, you're often going to find yourself creating more resistance to the things you want to manifest. But let me ask you a question. What if it were possible to communicate with your own unconscious mind in such a way that the moment you gave it a command or a direction or a statement, it automatically generated the perfect reason inside of itself for why that could happen to you and was 100% willing to do that? What would happen if you could literally bypass all the resistance to manifesting something that you're trying to communicate to your unconscious mind? Would that be helpful? That's exactly what the information method is going to do for you. It's going to teach you the exact structure of unconscious communication so that when you give yourself suggestions, your nervous system automatically generates the belief system necessary to manifest it. You won't have to tell your system what to believe. The system will actually tell you why it will actually act upon the instructions that you're giving it. Okay. I've spent a lot of years refining this particular template. It's amazing. Okay. And if you've ever done affirmations where you've repeated the same thing over and over and over again, and you either got frustrated, it didn't work, or it took too long, this is a game changer. Okay. I'm going to show you through this process how to delete negativity and vibrational imprints from your past. They don't even have to be from your past. They can be from your parents' past or your grandparents' past. All right. I'm going to teach you how to install the traits of naturally lucky people. Turns out that people who have a higher disproportionate level of good fortune also happen to share 5 key personality traits that if you just find these traits in yourself, amplify them, install them, and operationalize them, your ability to generate good luck automatically will happen. And Brian, by the way, you just hit one of the 4. People who are naturally lucky automatically identify as being lucky. It's an identification process, right? We'll talk about more about identity in part 3 of the webinar after we go through the full system here, or the full system overview here, right? I'm going to teach you. We might get to it today, but for sure you'll learn it in the course. We're going to talk about image cycling, which to me, in spite of all the things I've learned in the last 4 or 5 years, in my opinion, image cycling technology is still the most powerful engine of personal transformation and manifestation I've ever discovered. This course will make you an expert. This will make you an expert in the ability to heal people, to transform the qualities of matter, to pull things into your life many times that most people would consider impossible, right? I have at least 2 or 3 verifiable things that should not have happened that did as a byproduct and a result of the work of the effects that image cycling had on my mind and body. You see, one of the things we talk about in image cycling is the ability to manifest things from the universe. But one of the things that nobody really talks about is the effect that image cycling actually has on you. Image cycling actually creates a state of heightened neuroplasticity because you're rapidly generating positive oxytocin and dopaminergic imagery. And because of that, your nervous system generates more of the substances and the hormones that cause your brain to wire together differently and better. Okay. Nobody talks about that aspect of it, but it's a big deal, especially if you're someone like Enrique or his daughter who are looking for peak performance states, or if you're somebody who's looking to develop your psychokinetic abilities, your ability to influence things through the power of your mind. This particular practice will rapidly, if you're doing it properly, synchronize both hemispheres of the brain. It'll amplify the thickness of the corpus callosum. Well, Timothy, it was derived from the Bengston method. Absolutely. I was inspired with this process from learning directly from the founder of the Bengston method, Bill Bengston. He passed away a couple of years ago. So I don't know who's out there actively teaching his method anymore, but our particular manifestation tool was inspired by his work. So I highly recommend everything that he's done. That's just the beginning of what you'll be learning in the core training for Hidden Laws of Attraction. But we've got a bunch of other bonuses that form pillars of transformation. So these next 2 bonuses are extended vibrational influence. The first one is vibrational influence United Kingdom. Now, this is going to take everything you've done in Hidden Laws of Attraction and give you other ways that you can play with it. It's going to expand your ability to do remote healing. It's going to expand your ability to do enhanced manifestation, protect yourself against negative psychic attack, heal things, project sound for specific effects. It's a lot of different things that you can do besides manifesting more money or whatever. Okay. We're also going to teach you vibrational healing. Now, vibrational healing is a $2,497 value. This is going to give you a very well-rounded, very deep dive into a cross-section of the most powerful energy and vibrational healing disciplines out there. It's going to teach you how Reiki is different from Bankston, how Bankston is different from pranic healing, how pranic healing is different from different types of Qigong, right? How holographic memory resolution is different from these different systems. And so what will happen is you'll come out of this with a much broader, much more solid foundation in energy healing modalities. You'll learn how to do techniques from each of these systems, and you'll be able to incorporate those into your personal practice and into your healing practice if you have one. Okay. We'll teach you 4 or 5 ways to do remote healing. We'll teach you about accelerated manifestation, remove negativity from your past, things of that nature. This is a really powerful program. It's probably one of the safest ways to learn about energy and practice it that's out there. One of the problems that a lot of energy practitioners have, and I see this mostly, not exclusively, but mostly in people who are doing Reiki. A lot of Reiki practitioners tend to come down with either chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia. And I think a lot of that is because most systems of energy healing aren't big on energetic hygiene or what we call transformation practices. So what I mean by that is whenever you're doing an energy practice, a cultivation practice, there's 2 aspects to energy work that must be there for you to do it safely. There has to be a very consistent, strategic purgation or purification practice. In other words, you have to be actively working on clearing up all of your own emotional baggage, physical baggage, etc. Because whatever you're carrying around inside of you, if there's an analog to it in the person you're working on, it creates an energetic rapport bridge between your stuff, and their stuff will leak out and connect to the crap in your system. And if you don't have a good enough purification practice, then over time you will often contract many of the illnesses that you spend most of your time treating. Now, it's not something that a lot of Reiki practitioners want to hear because they believe they're protected. My experience in seeing Reiki practitioner after Reiki practitioner after Reiki practitioner who don't have these practices is that they're often not always the healthiest, right? Reiki is a great, relatively safe way to get introduced to energy work. But if you're not actively working on yourself and you spend all your time working on other people, if you think that all you need is to surround yourself with white light and that will protect you from the schmutz, you're running west looking for a sunrise. It's going to catch up with you eventually. So in this course, we'll give you a very thorough understanding of energy hygiene and how these different models of energy healing work, why some are better for certain things than others. For example, Reiki is excellent for pain relief. It's for symptom alleviation. Bankston is excellent for inflammatory diseases, right? Also, things like dementia, and obviously the system was proven for cancer, right? Qigong is good for a lot of different modalities or a lot of different situations. Pranic healing is very good with a lot of chakra work. If you're dealing with a lot of depression or suicidal tendencies, things of that nature, those are almost always a weakness in your basic chakra or your lower chakras. And pranic healing is exceptionally good at teaching you how to work with those. So each system have a lot in common, but they also are kind of really good at other things or specific areas. So we're going to give you a pretty good cross section of that. So if you are interested in energetics and vibrational healing and want to understand how the physics of things works out, then this is a really good extension of your manifestation training. We're also going to give you the Secrets of Personality Transformation home study course. This is a program specifically on the identity by design silo. So it's going to teach you how to enter that access state, that safe place induction. It's going to teach you how to remove the negativity from your past that you didn't even know was there. It's going to teach you how to resolve the safety lessons that are keeping you repeating the same patterns over and over again. It's going to help you install the default positive mental driver states that allow your manifestations to work faster and easier and more effectively. It's going to allow you to rewrite the negative energy out of your past and reprogram them into your positive memories, and overlay on top of that all the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people you like and admire and want to be more like. The Secrets of Personality Transformation program is designed for you to do on yourself by yourself. It's not something that somebody has to guide you through. If you just do the training the way that we teach you in the course, you'll be able to do the entire silo. Many people can do it in under 8 minutes. All 7 steps plus the induction under 8 minutes. So, okay. After that, again, it's Valentine's season. So we all want to manifest Mr. or Mrs. Right, or Mr. or Mrs. Right now. We also want the right one, right? We want somebody who's a fit for us. And so we're going to include one of our most powerful relationship building programs. This is probably the most spiritual relationship program that we teach. This is called the Soulmate Secrets Masterclass. We've only ever taught this twice. It's every time we do it, we get standing ovations from it. And this is the program that will systematically allow you to figure out where you've been going wrong in your past relationships, what you've been sorting for that is making you unhappy, what will actually make you fulfilled in life in general, what you need in your ideal partner, and how to begin attracting them. It's going to help you troubleshoot all the different aspects of your relationship: communication, sexuality, sensuality, how to understand the difference between infatuation and actual love, right? It's a very powerful, very, very comprehensive program that dives below the surface and exposes and brings into light the soulmate myth, the myth that you can only have one person as your soulmate. It's not true. We'll talk about how different cultures view the concept of soulmates and twin flames and all those other things, right? And how you can begin to engineer your own life to be the perfect lure, the perfect attractant for your soulmate. Okay. It's a very comprehensive program. I'm really proud of it. And we'll cover love languages, we'll cover attachment styles. All those things go into your soulmate profile, so you know what kind of a person you should be looking for, as to the old "I'll know it when I see it." If you've ever thought about relationships or the perfect job or whatever, and the phrase "I'll know it when I see it" comes up, a big red flag should go off. Chances are you will not know it. Why? Because we tend to date in patterns. We will date in the future the people we've dated in the past. And your unconscious mind, if you do not go in and resolve those safety lessons, if you do not go in and modify those templates, and you don't give it a new template and a new set of criteria to sort for, it will continue to sort for the same kind of person, even when you are consciously aware of what you are not looking for. In other words, if you actively, consciously go out and try to date somebody different than you've done in the past, you will activate, in many cases, a phenomenon we've come to call psychological paradox. Psychological paradox is the phenomenon when you go out and you actively, consciously seek to avoid a pattern, somehow, some way, you generate it again. Some of you may have experienced that, where you knew exactly what to avoid, exactly what not to do, exactly what kind of person not to get involved with, and you did it again. Okay? Why? Because you didn't clean up the crap, you didn't clean up the templates, and you didn't extract from your own history, your own life, the things that meet your values and the rules of those values. You didn't clean them up. That's what Soulmate Secrets Masterclass is really all about. It's about figuring out what you were sorting for, what you really want, what's the difference, and how do you make those changes. That's what Soulmate Secrets will do for you. It's all about the inner game of love and attraction and romantic relationship fulfillment. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free. Total combined value of everything we've talked about so far in your program is $11,485. Now, Soulmate Secrets, again, remember, it's Valentine's Day. Soulmate Secrets will give you the inner game of what to go for, or what to look for in a partner. But sometimes, even if we know what we want, we know where to go, we don't actually know how to become the person that can attract them. So I have a special, if you just stay with me for just a moment, I will show you a special bonus that I'm going to add to this to make it even easier for you to get the love you want the way that you want it. So this is what we've talked about so far. We've talked about the Hidden Laws of Attraction core program, right? It's a $1,997 value. You're going to get Vibrational Influence UK and the Vibrational Healing combination, $2,497 value each. You're going to get the Secrets of Personality Transformation home study course. And as an extra bonus, we're going to give you the Hidden Laws of Attraction special, the Soulmate Secrets Masterclass. It's a $1,997 value. That's pretty cool. Would that be a good, would that pretty much set you guys up? I mean, if I had all that stuff, I think I'd be able to write my own ticket in this life, right? Total value on this is $11,485. Now, you can probably guess that I'm not going to make you pay $11,485, right? Today, I want you to start a whole new chapter in your life. I want you to grab your nervous system by the controls and rewrite everything so you can have the happiest, most joyful, most amazing life experience ever. I want you to stop letting fear control you. I want you to start letting love and joy and passion into your life on a greater and greater level. I want you to become super charismatic. I want you to become magnetic to financial abundance like it's nobody's business. And I want you to be lucky, luckier than you've ever been. So today, oops, you're not going to pay $11,485. I'm not even going to make you pay $94.97 or $64 or $44. Let's just cut to the chase. Would $24.97 be a good deal for all the things I've just talked about? Well, we're not going to do that either. If you act now, click that link that's showing up in your chat. You're going to get everything I've described and maybe a little bit more for one low installment of just $9.97. All you got to do to get yours is click on the link, www.nlppower.com/HLOA. Click that link. You're going to get instant access to every single product I've just described, the entire the three-pillar system. And if you act quick, I'm going to guarantee everything for a full 60 days. If you're not happy, just let us know. If you're having a sticking point, let us know. And we will absolutely help you through those sticking points, and we'll just give you a full refund if it's not working the way we're telling you it will. But we've really under-described what's going to happen for you. Okay? Just go to nlppower.com, HLOA. You act before the... Okay. We're also going to give you these following fast action bonuses. A, we're going to give you the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. This is a 90-day trial. You get to come in on the third Saturday of every month and practice and learn these skills and more for 4 to 6 hours a day on the third Saturday of every month. We've been running this program literally since October 10th, 2010. So it's literally 16 years that we've been running this. Okay. And basically, it's designed to take whatever courses you've been involved in, whatever courses you have access to, and give you the opportunity to actually practice in real time with other human beings on the things that are most important to you. Okay. It's literally a group mentoring session with me, my assistant instructors, and some of your closest friends that you've never met yet. All interested in the same things, and we train and we practice. You won't get a certificate from the mastermind program. What you will get is a heightened ability to use the techniques that you're being given access to and a higher level of confidence and comfort and certainty in your ability to do these things in the real world, in real time, on real people with success. That's what we're doing. That's why we've been doing the mastermind program. It is why it's been so popular. It's probably our longest running program next to Killer Influence and Identity by Design. It's easily the thing that makes all the difference in many people's lives because it gives them the ability to actually practice. Okay, it's a $1,597 value. We're going to give this to you free, and we're going to give you an extra bonus. We're going to give you access to the entire 15-year video archive. We've videotaped every single training session since the dawn of this whole program. We've archived those in specific locations. And as a bona fide member of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, you will get unlimited access to the entire archive. Stuff that's never been seen on YouTube, never been seen on a product, never been seen in a short video, stuff that's exclusive to Mastermind Mentoring members only. If after 90 days you decide you want to stay, we'll show you how to extend that membership. If after 90 days you got all the skills you needed, you're ready to go kick some butt out in the real world, we will bid you good luck and wait to hear about your successes in the future. Okay? Total combined value on everything I've talked about so far is $13,082, but there's more. And this is the extra special bonus I wanted to tell you about. Soulmate Secrets was all about the inner game of dating, love, and relationships. Attraction Mastery is all about the skills and techniques for men to attract the woman they want, for a woman to attract the man they want, or for a man to attract the man they want, or a woman to attract the woman they want, or if you don't have any preference, whatever you want, whenever you want it. This is a skill set that is going to help bridge the gap between knowing who you want and having the ability to actually go out, meet them, attract them, and get into a relationship with them in the most fulfilling, satisfying way possible. It will teach you how to interpret what people are saying to you based on the gendered level communication. It will show you and teach you how what you say and what you do is being interpreted differently by the opposite gender, so you can make the translation and stop avoiding or stop making the mistakes that always put you in the friend zone or in the bitch zone or whatever words are commonly applied to you that are less than positive. We're going to show you how to neutralize those problems once and for all and give you a system of getting to meet someone, approach them, understanding them better than anybody has ever understood them in the shortest amount of time possible, and how to generate deep, authentic attraction and trust and connection between you and another human being. This is this is probably one of the sleepers in our human influence arsenal, because most people think this is all about just finding a relationship, a love partner. It isn't. All of the techniques in this program can be modified for intimacy in business communication, mediation, negotiation, networking functions, because attraction archetypes are attraction scenarios and contexts are actually the archetype of most other forms of social and professional interaction. So many of these techniques can be mapped directly across to creating deep levels of connection, trust, and cooperation with other people, even if you don't have a romantic interest in them. I highly, highly recommend that if you get nothing else, you get this program, just so it kind of removes all the social obstacles that you might have to deal with in other contexts. It's a $2,497 value. We're going to give this to you 100% free, A, because it's Valentine's Day, and B, it's part of your attraction algorithm formula. Okay. So total combined value is 18,706. And then last but not least, for those of you who want an extra income stream, who want to actually maybe have a side business or maybe just have a career change, who actually want to make a life out of helping other people, right? We're going to give you a free VIP super ticket to our next 5-day Identity by Design hypnotherapy certification boot camp. This is the program that literally takes people who can't even spell hypnosis and NLP and makes them unstoppable in the shortest amount of time possible. By the time you exit, this is the exact same program that Joni Nady learned and she started using with Olympic athletes within months of coming out of the training. It's the program she has attributed more success for her athletes than any other system. If you want that level of training, if you want to be awesome and have the confidence and the certainty to be able to do these techniques with human beings anytime, anywhere, under any situation or circumstance, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to jump into the next boot camp. This is going to be a hybrid camp. So there will be a Zoom option as well as a in-person option. I'm always partial. I love people being in the room with me that I can just impart with them and imprint them with these skills in the most powerful way possible. But if travel isn't something you can do and you want to attend virtually, we do have that option. The training starts March 24th through the 28th, 2026, and trainings will generally run from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. But I will warn you up front, I have been known on many occasions to decide to have evening sessions, especially if people are really doing well or they need extra help. Or sometimes I'll just teach stuff that isn't even on the curriculum just so they can have a broader toolkit, right? This is the fastest, most powerful, most effective hypnotherapy system on the planet. Okay. And once again, you will learn everything I've talked about, how to remove negativity you didn't even know you had, how to change those safety rules, how to eliminate problems that just keep coming back, how to install default driver states, how to remove pain in seconds, how to transform negative states into positive states, how to install default driver states, how to sanitize negativity from the past, how to change people's internal dialogue so that that internal voice that used to beat them up becomes the biggest cheerleader, guide, and mentor and protector they've ever had, how to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people your clients most want to be like so they can get the life they want the way they want it. We're going to introduce you to one of the most powerful hypnotic regression techniques available, a regression technique that doesn't actually require a person to relive traumas over and over again. It's very powerful and it's life-changing. Not only that, we're going to teach you the secret of instant and rapid inductions. And usually like day 1 or 2, you'll be a master. You'll be mastering instant and rapid inductions. You'll do more instant hypnosis inductions in the first 2 days than most people do in a career. Okay. And then finally, because it is about making money and doing this professionally, right? We want to give you our core consultation process. Now, I'm very proud of this consultation process. It's a 30-minute consultation model that has about a 90% conversion rate. 9 out of 10 people who go through this consultation process go from prospect to client in 30 minutes or less. Okay. In fact, if you do it wrong, the longer you go beyond 30 minutes, the less likely they are to actually become a client. So we've this program has been modeled by several high-level hypnotists. I won't name names because I don't have permission to use their names, but I was actually interviewed on this by a very high-level expert in conversational hypnosis, and he taught it to his silver members in his mastermind program. All right. So anyway, lot going on with this. This is the Identity by Design 5-day hypnosis and hypnotherapy certification boot camp. It's scheduled for March 24th to the 28th, 2026, here in San Diego. If you have more questions about that, then by all means reach out to my assistants, Mia or Moss, at 858-282-4663. That's 858-282-4663. Operators are standing by. This is a $2,497 value. We're going to give you this VIP ticket if and only if you're one of the next 21 people to click that link right now. You will automatically qualify and get your VIP ticket. Now, these fast action bonuses, the mastermind mentoring program, the attraction mastery, and this VIP ticket, they're only available while I'm live on this webinar. If you wait until I log off the webinar to click the link, you will qualify for the core bonuses I mentioned, but you will not qualify for the fast action bonuses. So the next 21 people to click this link are going to get this VIP ticket. And this thing will change your life in ways you can only possibly imagine. Okay. Yeah, anyway, so I got distracted by the chat. I'm sorry. So the total combined value on this is $13,579. I think that's wrong. Anyway, so here's what we got for you. You got the Hidden Laws of Attraction core home study program. You got Vibrational Influence and Vibrational Healing, both valued at $24.97 each. And we're going to bundle, that's your first pillar. We're going to give that to you for free. You're going to get the Secrets of Personality Transformation and Soulmate Secrets Masterclass. That's your third pillar. We're going to give that to you free as well. And then for those of you who click that link right now, you're going to get a VIP ticket to the next 5-day Hypnosis and Hypnotherapy Certification Boot Camp, March 24th to the 28th. You're going to get, all right, Sheila's in. I love Sheila. All right. You're going to get the 3-month trial membership to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. And you're going to get the special edition Attraction Mastery 4-day video intensive. This was a live class that we did. We videotaped it. We created a workbook for it, which is based on our Killer Influence Manual, which is the #1 NLP training program in the world. We're going to bundle all this together for you. Catherine says, where is the link? Mia, can you post the link for Catherine? Cool. And I'm just gonna cut and paste one just in case I need to do it. All right. So anyway, you can get it all for just one installment of $9.97. $9.97. Or if you need a little help, but you know you want to do it, you can break that up into 3 simple installments of just $2.97 each. All you need to do to get yours is click the link, nlppower.com/HLOA. That's nlppower.com/HLOA. Okay? Operators are standing by. Now, a couple of things while you're doing this, okay? First of all, if you're calling us and you get the voicemail, and that happens a lot because we get slammed when we reach this part of the webinar, please, 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 please leave your contact information. The voicemail will record the time you call. But if you don't leave your contact information, then you will not qualify for the fast action bonuses we've just described. If you call while I'm still on the webinar and you leave your information, we will call you back easily within the next 24 hours, and you will qualify for everything. Every fast action bonus, every VIP ticket, everything we've talked about, you're going to get. Maybe even a little bit more, because I love giving stuff to people. You take action, I'll take action, right? It's kind of like that 401k. You put some money in, I'll match it or do something even better, right? So this is how we do this. Sign up for yourself and jump in, and we'll make sure that you have the most amazing experience humanly possible. And it will just get better from there. Okay? Now, a couple of things. If you've been around Planet David for a while, and a lot of you have, I see a lot of familiar faces on the webinar, then there's a good chance that you've already got a lot of these programs, right? And I get that, but it's okay. If you see it, if you have a similar package to this, or you have products that are mentioned here, all you need to do is pick up the phone, call 858-282-4663 after you click the link. Tell us that you grabbed the program and that you would like to substitute for different programs. We will go through our catalog. We will go through our catalog and we will go through that with you, and you can choose any program that is of equal or lesser value than the programs listed here. So you can customize the package. There isn't a link on Zoom. Try this. Catherine, can you see that one? Okay, try that and let me know if it works. Okay. All right. Okay. So if you have similar packages, that's not a problem. Click your link right now. Give Mia or Moss a shout out either through email or through the phone. We will let you customize the program. We'll go through the catalog. We'll find something that's a better fit for you, and we'll customize your program for you. If for some reason you really want to come to Identity by Design, but the dates don't work for you, not a problem. Click the link, send us an email. We will put you on the guest list for the next training. Okay. You will, once you're in the system, that credit is waiting for you until you're ready to use it. Now, let's say you click the link, you're getting ready to come out, and then all of a sudden something weird happens at the last minute. Boss makes you work, the water heater goes out, some weird thing. All of a sudden you can't make the training. Not a problem. All you do is you pick up the phone, you send Moss or Mia an email. We will move you to the next training. You will not lose your seat. You will not lose your ticket if you can't make the March 24th training. You will have it until you use it. Now, let's say you looked at the dates and you realize you're not going to make it, right? But you have the ticket, and then something happens at the last minute that allows you to attend the training, but it's sold out, which happens sometimes. Not a problem. Pick up the phone, after you click the link, pick up the phone, call Moss, call Mia, let us know you want to use your VIP ticket to attend the training. And even if it is sold out, we will make a seat just for you. The only thing I request humbly is that you let us know as quickly in advance as possible that you're coming. And the reason is because we wait until like the day before the event to pick up the training materials. And if people show up on the day of the event, sometimes we have to go get extra books made or whatever. So we just want to avoid any last minute running around or creating manuals and stuff like that. But hey, you make it when you make it. Okay. So again, this is the link, http://www.nlppower.com/hidden laws of attraction, HLOA. Total value on this is $18,706, but you get it all for one loan installment of $997 or 3 easy installments of $297 each. There may have been a typo on the offer page, but this is the price that we're promoting. So that's what you'll be investing. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you guys a 7-minute break. When we come back, we're going to walk through a little bit more identity stuff, and I'm going to answer any questions that you have about manifestation or getting out of your own way or what have you. Okay. I'll see you in about 6 or 7 minutes.
Okay, folks, I'm back. Um, got a few minutes on our break. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have on anything we've covered so far. We can talk about the full Hidden Loss program. We can talk about the techniques we covered, talk about sticking points that we've had. What do you got for me? Talk to me. I must be a really good teacher. You are. No one knows how to respond to that one. Thank you, Agnes. You guys are fun. Appreciate you guys coming out and hanging with me. All right. Which program is best for getting out of your own way? That's going to be Secrets of Personality Transformation. Hidden Laws of Attraction is actually a good one, the core program, but it's a derivative. It's a specific application of the Identity by Design silo combined with specific manifestation tools. So when you go through personality transformation, you're going to get a deep dive into the mechanics of how the Identity by Design silo works. And then when you take that and you apply it to the hidden laws sequences, you're going to get a review of the IBD, but you're going to be able to use those techniques much more powerfully and with a lot more certainty um, for those particular techniques. Edie is asking an observation on finding happiness or safety. My go-to is remember when I did not feel fear. Okay. So then that question then presupposes that you feel fear an awful lot, Edie. Would that be true? Yeah. Okay. So there's probably some deeper level work that needs to happen there, but that's actually very, very doable. If you start with the Identity by Design silo, if you come to the IBD, the 5 day, either through Zoom or in person, you'll get a lot of that cleared as a consequence of going through the entire training. One of the things about Identity by Design training that is probably one of the reasons it produces such amazingly powerful hypnotists is because for the entire 5 days, you are learning how to transform people and by actually transforming people and being transformed yourself. And so you have an intimate experience of clearing and cleansing and redesigning and reconstructing your inner world in a very profound way. And I think that's one of the reasons why that particular, and also the way we teach you. Nobody trains hypnotists like we do. Um, we do 3 times more hands-on training than any trainer in the industry. And that's been true for almost 2 decades now. And it bothers me that I'm the only one that we're the only ones who do that. But we're really committed at NLP Power and Planet David. We're really committed to helping you embody these skills. Like I said before, this whole journey from one perspective started as my quest to gain abilities or gain something that couldn't be taken away. And so our training, everything about how we train you is to that end. Once you see the tuition for the training, that's the easy part. You can always make more money. And that gives you access to the information. Just like earlier before the break, right? I guided you into a state of comfort and safety and openness and coherence. That's the access point. That's where you start so you can begin to change and transform and reprogram any aspect of your nervous system. Well, the tuition for the program and to get to the training, that also is an access point. It's an entry into getting the ability to own those to get access to those skills. But there's another payment that you're going to make along the way. And that's not a money payment. That payment is showing up either virtually or in person. That payment is paying attention to the instructions of the process. That payment is doing the drills and getting the skills, both in the seminar room and out in the real world through the mastermind mentoring program or with your friends or your colleagues or whatever. That second payment takes you from access to ownership. It allows you to move through the world with a skill set, a superpower, a set of superpowers, if you will, that will help you and serve you and support you anytime, anywhere, under any situation or circumstance, whenever you choose to use them. It's a power and a skill set that can never be taken from you. You'll always have it, and you can always use it, right? And to me, that's more precious than any price tag. It's something that, again, the tax man can't take it, you know, ICE can't take it, you know, you embody it. And that's my goal for all of you, really, is not to just sell you a course. My job, my goal, my dream is for you to become the embodiment of these skills, to move through the world as an unstoppable, beautiful, shining agent of change that can deliver change and transformation anywhere you go. You are, again, it's going to sound a little weird. You are my message to the world. There's only one of me. There's not enough of me to go around. But if I can transfer those things to you, then we can change the world one mind at a time forever. And that's my goal, right? So join me on the other side and we'll have a party. Okay. All right. So, what do you have any other questions that I'm gonna get off my hypno horse now? You guys have any questions about what we've covered so far? The framing technique, the access states, and why they're important. If you just did those two things every day, your life would change every day. So Catherine's in. Cool. I love it. All right. All right, let's talk a little bit about identity. Now, the next technique that we're going to talk about, I've given you a walkthrough of the system, so to speak. Clearing, you access state, you clear general negativity, you clear specific negativity, you install default driver states, you transform and change internal dialogue, you sanitize negativity, you install that as a template at the genetic level. If you ever read any of Bruce Lipton's work on epigenetics, we have a specific process in the system that takes all that power and installs it so your system just keeps running it like an automated software. Then we take that and we overlay on top of it all the traits and qualities and characteristics and talents of people that you admire, right? The technical term for that process is called deep trance identification. Deep trance identification is an extraordinarily powerful way to acquire skills and abilities that you don't seem, at least, to naturally possess. So yeah. So Stephen is saying, I had a client who couldn't finish the gray room. The dark stuff was stapled and regrowing. She never. That's where Magic Frame comes in. That's where Magic Frame comes in. Okay. And there's all kinds of other things that you can do inside the gray room. Like I had one guy, he was in the gray room, and I didn't know this at the time. This is what was funny. This is, again, when you start doing the hypnotic work with people, you set up lines of communication between their nervous system and yours that don't come through the voice. And something will come out of your mouth. You'll have no idea where it came from, and it'll be exactly what that client needed to hear, or it'll be so relevant to that person in ways that you couldn't even possibly have consciously predicted. Yeah, mirror neurons, vibration, entrainment, they're all a factor in this, right? But I had one guy, he was having trouble in the gray room, right? And I said to him, I said, well, that's all right. I want you to look over in the corner. There's a closet. And in that closet is some special solvent for that, like that stuff that window cleaners use to get the gum off of windows. Well, there's a special spray bottle of solvent in there. Just go in there, grab it, come out and spray it and scrape it off. And he goes into his gray room. He goes into the corner, right? He finds the solvent. He sprays it on a thing and scrapes the problem off the wall of his gray room and throws it in the fire. And then he finishes cleaning up and stuff like that. And when he comes out of the trance, he looks at me with a big old smile on his face and goes, "How did you know I was a window cleaner?" Right? I didn't. Right? It's just one of those things. But once again, once you understand the real dynamics of the unconscious mind, then you can literally make things up and it'll work well. It'll work powerfully. That's the real secret. Um, well, I wasn't really cold reading because I didn't know anything about the guy. It was just one of those moments where he showed up for a meetup that I was running. Never met the guy before. Wasn't wearing anything that would indicate he was a window cleaner. Right? Yep, straight up entrainment. Timothy's asking, is there an exercise to clear the mind from the chatter? Actually, there's a couple. There's a couple, but here's the biggest thing I've discovered is that chatter only becomes a problem if you think it's a problem. If you say my mind has to be completely quiet for me to do this work, then you will put all of your willpower into trying to turn off the chatter, which inevitably makes the chatter louder because willpower is a finite resource. But if you just treat the chatter like background noise, how many people here have ever studied? Right? This next piece will probably be really true for the ladies because they're better equipped for this. How many of you have ever studied with the music playing? Right? Notice all the women do it more than the men. Do you know why that's true? Because women's brains are wired differently than men's. The corpus callosum, the bridge between the right and left hemispheres of the brain, is actually like significantly thicker in females than it is in males. As a byproduct of that enhanced neuroplasticity and some other wiring things going on, women can actually focus and concentrate better even when music is playing. But do you ever notice that when a guy gets lost and he needs directions, he turns down the radio? He says, so do I. Yeah, haha, yeah. Why? Because lack of focus. So here's the secret. When you have the background chatter, there are certain body positions or physiologies that you can take that will turn off the dialogue, but it'll only turn the dialogue off as long as you're in that posture. So that can be useful to interrupt a pattern, but the real big secret is to become absorbed in what you're doing and don't even worry about the noise, right? Just treat it like background noise. Because what's really happening there, again, this is David's the world according to David. So the neuroscience is usually pretty right on, but sometimes my conclusions are different. Um, yeah. Um, One of the things you can do if you really want to get absorbed, I'll give you, this is a really quick um, face reading trick that you can use if you want to get absorbed in something really quick. Think of a time in your life when you were watching something or were paying attention to something that completely enthralled you, that was completely fascinating to you, right? And I want you to, and what usually happens when you're watching something you're completely fascinated by, you will tend to lean forward, but your eyes will tend to be held open very, very wide. So if you want to facilitate absorption in something and you want to take in more information, if as you're reading it or paying attention to it, you hold not scary out wide, but open your eyes wide you will become more absorbed in that material. So these are little physiological things you can do to amplify your focus and facilitate absorption. If you sit or stand like it's the most fascinating thing you've ever heard, your brain will go into a state of fascination, which will tend to turn off the internal dialogue. And if it doesn't turn off the internal dialogue, it will push it to the back of your mind so it's no longer distracting you, right? So again, we talk about uh, in Identity by Design and Killer Influence, we talk about the concept of state control, which is the ability to enter or exit any psycho-emotional state at will on demand in any situation or circumstance. And one of the first things we do is we take this big idea of how to control your emotional states and we split it down the middle between physiologically driven state control and volitionally or cognitively driven state control. And the reason that we have to do that is because your physiology controls your psychology. If I'm trying to create positive, joyful, happy, lucky states, but my body is in a configuration of depression, fear, anger, contraction, right? Then I won't be able to access those positive states. And if I can't access those positive states, I can't access the tools in my nervous system that let me change my programming. Okay. Oh, there's some good stuff coming from our Zoomers here. Um, David Chan. Good to see you too, David. There's Spider Bite. Hey there. I removed the pie in good. I have no idea what that means. Do I have an alternative to the gray room that is broad spectrum? Actually, I do. I have a couple, actually. I have a metaphor that I use sometimes. I call it paying bills. How many people here have ever paid a bill? Just type that's me in the chat. Like, yeah, paid an invoice. So, in this particular metaphor, what I do is I imagine that I'm sitting in my study at my desk and there's a fireplace behind me and there's this big stack of invoices that need to be paid, right? And these are all the crap things that I've been carrying around forever. And so I take one of the invoices, I read it, I sign it, I mark it paid, and then I throw it in the fire. And I take another one and I read it and I sign it, I mark it paid, and I throw it in the fire. And I just keep going through until all the crap I want to clear is done. Another way you can do it is through a process called the divine, not the divine waterfall will work. There's another variation of that called the universal solvent. Universal solvent's really, really good as a general negativity clearing exercise. Okay. Does that help? While we're together, is there anything in particular? Yeah. While we're together, is there anything else you guys would like to go over that might help you, that I can do for you? Type in, don't be bashful. This is all about you. Image cycling, got anything new? Well, I don't have anything new, but I did. The image cycling was on the list of topics to be covered. So let's do a basic understanding of what image cycling is and how it works. Now, here's the thing we need to understand. I did not invent image cycling. I learned it from a man named Bill Bankston, and I modeled my systems of image cycling from what I learned from him. Now, Bill was a brilliant, brilliant person. He did more science on energy healing than anybody on the planet, probably, except for maybe Dean Radin. And he did it in medical studies using double-blind animal-controlled systems. Okay. And so when I say that image cycling can cure cancer, I can say that because the science and the studies were done that showed that image cycling cured rats bred to be vulnerable to a specific type of cancer and injected with a type of cancer that's always 100% fatal were consistently cured during double-blind, placebo-controlled animal studies using image cycling. If that were the only thing that image cycling could be done with, that you could do with image cycling, it would be worth 10 times the investment in this program. But it's not. Image cycling, the side effect of image cycling is that whatever you put on your image cycling list tends to manifest. And that's what's fascinating about the genesis of image cycling. How many of you have had a chance to read or study any of Dr. Bankston's work? Just type in the chat if you did. Okay. If you haven't, image cycling came about. It's kind of a funny story. Bill developed image cycling as a way to stop being bored, as a way to get himself out of the way of the part that heals. When you're doing image cycling, you're actually setting up what I call parallel processes. There's a part of you that's always connected. There's a part of you that's always connected to the quantum universe, right? We're going to get all physicsy on you. There's a part of you that's always entangled with everything else. And that part is super conscious. But you have this other part of you that thinks, that tries to do things, that tries to muscle its way through things, that tries to control and direct things. And so what happens many times is that super conscious part of you, it can't get through the noise generated by the conscious mind or the noise by the unconscious mind. So what Bill decided to do and what Bill figured out was if I create a process to keep the conscious mind and a certain percent, a certain part of the unconscious mind occupied, it creates a channel that allows that higher consciousness part of you, the part of you that's entangled with everything else in the universe. It allows that part to come through and create a coherent state in the room. And when that coherent state manifests, that's where healings are triggered. Okay. So image cycling was actually originally designed as a distraction. But what happened was when people started doing image cycling, anything they put on their image cycling list started to show up. Now I got a hold of that and I was like, wow, this guy was digging for oil. He got platinum, right? And he's still focused on the oil. I want the platinum. And that's to me where our approach to image cycling comes from. It's from the understanding that, yeah, you can use this to heal. And we teach you how to do that in the vibrational healing bonus package. But there's so much more that can be done with it. But how does it work? Let me see if I can find my notes really quick, and I will try and walk you through it. We won't have time to do it today, but I can walk you through a basic way to start with this. Maybe I just search for it here. Okay. So the first thing that you have to do, how many of you would like help setting up your image cycling lists? Okay, Sheila. Okay. Okay. So here's the first thing you need to do. You need to get out a sheet of paper and number it from 1 to 20. 1 to 20. Okay. When you've done that, type done in the chat. again, I can't give you the full way that we do this. That's in the program, but I can give you a template that you can start to build your image cycling list so that when you get to that section in the course, you don't have to like slow down. Okay. So I want you to list everything you want to manifest. Just a quick word or phrase that represents those things. Just write them down from 1 to 20. Okay. Now, when you get at least 5, type done in the chat. So Vuk is asking a very good question. And I think I covered this, but in case he missed it, Vuk is asking, um, I went to Bankston class, fascinating, but I wonder, what is the goal? To heal, or is the goal to make your visualizations during cycling come through? If you went to Bill's class, then the purpose of your image cycling was to facilitate healing. Because Bill's system is based around this idea that I image cycle to get out of my own way. So the higher part of me, the spirit part of me that knows how to heal and has the ability to facilitate that healing can pass through me and to the client unobstructed. Okay. They're two separate processes. Image cycling faster will not make the healing stronger. Let me be very clear about that. For those of you who are wondering about this idea of effort, image cycling your stuff harder and harder, harder, putting more and more effort into your image cycling will not make the healing more powerful. They are two separate but concurrent or contingent processes. Okay? And here's the thing you need to understand. The more effort you put into visualizing, the less pleasure you get. So the secret to this kind of work is fun, playfulness, fantasy. Think about how much effort you put into fantasizing about something. You don't. You're completely relaxed. You're completely absorbed in what you're doing. There's no perceived effort to it. You want that same kind of experience, or as close as you can, that same kind of experience when you're image cycling. Okay. The more effort you perceive, the more it distorts your visualization and it creates stress in your body. And when you create stress in the body, you're moving it away from pleasure. Okay. Be as playful as humanly possible. And this is where I see people kind of running west looking for a sunrise. The whole idea behind image cycling is to be effortless. Okay. If you're not having fun, you're not being effective. But understand that no matter how much you image cycle, no matter how intensely you image cycle, the healing is going to come through at whatever rate it's going to come through. From a healer's perspective, your job is simply to get out of the way and indulge in a chain of fantasies. And the more playful you are with that, the more you get wrapped up in the hedonism of it, the selfishness of it, the better it works for you. Okay. So let's take image 1. So let's say we have something we want to manifest. One of the things that has to happen when we're going to begin to create our image cycling list is we state what we want. We imagine what it would be like. Then we ask a question. Then what am I going to do? So let's say I want to manifest a 7-figure business, or an online business that does 6 figures a month, $100,000+ a month. All right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to imagine what that might be like. Here's the key phrase for this. What might that be like? And I'm going to make that movie. I'm going to Steven Spielberg it. I'm going to make it as awesome as humanly possible. And I'm going to get an experience of that. Once I have it, I'm going to ask myself the next question. Okay, I've got the $1,000,000 or the $100,000 a month. What do I want to do next? I have $100,000 a month coming in. What am I going to do for myself? Am I going to buy a new Lambo? Right? Am I going to I'm going to pay off all my bills? Am I going to buy a brand new house in the Bahamas or in some vacation spot? Am I going to take a trip around the world? What am I going to do once I'm making $100,000 a month? That's a result of that 100K. That becomes the second entry of the first line of your image cycling list. So here's what it would look like for you guys. Where are you? Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. Hold on a second. My OneNote disappeared. Here we go. All right. So manifest. Can you guys see this okay? Yeah, okay. All right. So this would be one entry. This would be line one. Of my image cycling list. First, manifestation one, manifestation two, manifestation three. So literally, I don't have my spreadsheet. I had a spreadsheet that I used to use with this, but I don't have it. So manifestation one, what do I want? Seven-figure business, right? As a result of that, I'm going to get a big house. As a result of having those big houses and parties, I'm going to buy more houses around the world, right? So line one, of my image cycling. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So I have manifestation one, manifestation two, manifestation three. That's line one of my image cycling list. Manifestation one, two, three. So the first one is seven-figure business. House and parties. Houses around the world. That is line one of my image cycling list. Line two of my image cycling list. Let me. It's totally. Agnes says that's totally on the list. Okay, so somebody write something on the list that they want to manifest. We'll do one for you. Just write something you want to manifest. Peak fitness. Okay. Jason says more clients. All right. So let's say that we'll go with peak fitness since that's radically different from what most people ask for. Peak fitness. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself the magic question. What might that be like? Okay. What might that be like? I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys. What might it be like to have peak fitness? Maybe I'm running ramps. Maybe I'm doing a marathon. Maybe I'm rock climbing. Maybe I'm doing a triathlon. But I'm just killing it, and I'm having the best time ever. right? Okay, I've got my peak fitness. I'm breaking records. I'm taking names. Now, person who gave me that was Agnes, right? So Agnes, you've got peak fitness. You're running triathlons or you're climbing mountains. What are you going to do as a result of that? Once you got that peak fitness, what are you going to do next? Just type it in the chat. Train others. Okay. So now I'm this superstar athlete, right? People are I'm getting famous and now I'm got a business. I'm training other people to do what I do and I'm having the best time ever. Remember, the secret to this, maximum pleasure. Manifestation 2, maximum pleasure. You got to love it. You got to love it selfishly. Okay. Okay. So I've got peak fitness. I'm training other people. Agnes, what am I going to do then? Change the world. Okay. All right. Remember, this has to be selfish. So, how are you going to change the world? What does that look like for you? When you see yourself changing the world, Agnes, what do you see? More fit people, more healthy people? Okay. So here's where it gets interesting now, okay? I have to make mental movies of each of these things in sequence. Manifestation 1, manifestation 2, manifestation 3. Okay. Once I've gotten all three, I would spend anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes on each entry, imagining it, living that movie over and over again. Okay. Once I've done that, once I've done that, I'm going to create a symbol, word, or phrase that is a gestalt of all of these. In other words, if my higher mind could create a symbol, a word, or a phrase that represents all of this, what would it be? What would it be? So go ahead, Agnes. What symbol or word optimal? Okay, so your word would be what? Optimal performance. Perfect. You've just created the first entry on your image psyching list. So anytime you say the word to yourself or you see the words optimal performance, all of this gets activated. Okay. Timothy, I'm just telling you what I was taught. Okay. That's how you do your image cycling list. When I say list 1 to 20 things, I'm not really asking you to list 1 to 20 things, am I? That's one entry on my list, but it's 3 phases or 3 iterations of that, right? I'm going to do one more because I saw Jason asked me about one. Okay, let me see if I can get another line really quick. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, Jason, what was yours? Jason's was a business one, I think. More clients. Okay, so Jason wanted more clients. Okay, all right, Jason, you've got more clients. Then what happens? What are you going to do next? You're getting all the clients you can handle. What happens next? Brian's asking, would you separate or enhance the different senses through the process? Oh, Brian, I do so many things. I do so many things to amplify this, but there's too many things for me to teach in this webinar. We do them all in the programs. But what I'm teaching you right here is the basic method I learned from Bill. I have so many ways of amplifying this, it's not even funny. Actually, it's a lot of fun, but yeah. So Jason says, spread the teachings to more people. All right. So again, Jason, when you imagine spreading the teachings to more people and helping them overcome their problems, how does that make you feel? Good. Okay. So you make that movie of spreading the teachings, helping people overcome problems, and feeling good. The good feelings got to be there, guys. If these things aren't giving you pleasure, you're doing it wrong. Okay? And they should be, the way I was taught, as selfish as you can possibly make it. All right, so Jason, you're seeing more clients. You're spreading the teachings. What are you going to do then as an extension or the next phase in your spreading the teachings and getting more clients journey? What comes next for you? Buy a new car and take a holiday. Awesome. Perfect. So once again, you've got the same exact process. Manifestation 1, more clients. Manifestation 2, spreading the teachings. Manifestation 3, buy a new car and take a holiday. What symbol, keyword, or phrase represents the gestalt of that entire sequence? What is that for you, Jason? San Diego sounds good. Yes, it does, Jason. Been a long time since I've seen you, bro. Happy Valentine's Day. Right. Okay, you guys get the basic idea. So when you cycle, you only cycle this. Okay. This is the only thing you cycle. This is just priming. Okay. Jason wants to use a square and a hot air balloon. Go for that, right? Plug that right in. Make them as silly as you want, as long as, honestly, as long as they truly, honestly, deeply represent the pleasure and the joy of the thing you want to attain. Okay? So you would do that, you would repeat that process for every entry on your list. And you would only cycle the symbols or the keywords or the gestalts. All right? Does that make sense? Was that helpful? All right. If you want the deeper, more powerful, comprehensive training, just click the links and grab your courses. It's all in there. In fact, you'll actually have it. There'll be a test in Hidden Laws where you'll take 2 bottles of water. You'll label one test and the other control. You'll put the control off to the side or under your chair, and you'll image cycle for 5 minutes holding a bottle of water. And after 5 minutes of image cycling, you'll taste test them and you'll notice the difference. We actually do that test in the course. We do it a lot, right? So for those of you who have been on the fence, when would now be a good time to get the full and complete training? Once again, it's the Hidden Laws of Attraction program. It's again, vibrational influence and vibrational healing, secrets of personality transformation, soulmate secrets masterclass, attraction mastery 4-day intensive, the NLP Power Mastermind mentoring program, and the VIP ticket to the Real World Hypnosis Identity by Design Hypnosis and Hypnotherapy home or live training. It's an $18,706 value. Valentine's Day special, you can get it all for one low installment of just $997 or 3 installments of $297 each. Just go to nlppower.com/HLOA and you can reserve your slot. Remember, when I log off, the fast action bonuses go away. So if you want hands-on training with me in the same room, looking over your shoulder, making sure you get this in a way that nobody else has ever gotten it, I want you to go ahead and click those links right now so we can move forward, right? So we can absolutely get you the life you want, the way that you want it, and have you manifesting some of the most amazing and powerful results for yourself humanly possible. Like I said, you guys are my foot soldiers, my Jedi warriors going out into the world to help and heal and make this world a better place. So click those links. In the words of the immortal Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night, everybody. May your luck always be good, and we'll see you on the other side. Go ahead and click your link.